Hey people, it's Ed, Winged Horse Bud here. The Pegasus 39 from Nike is that daily shoe, the all-purpose offering for the grinding of the miles and the kilometers in training. But how does it hold up over those longer runs? Let's take flight and find out. Welcome back to the channel, or if it's your first time here, where have you been? Hit that subscribe button, click the bell for notifications, but also make sure you give this video a thumbs up like and share it with your running buddies. Das ist sehr gut. I've been really enjoying the Pegasus 39 from Nike as a daily driver shoe. A jack of all trades this one, nimble enough for some faster, shorter bursts, but also perhaps for those easier daily efforts. It's certainly a bit lighter now, when you compare it at least to the Pegasus 37 and 38, so does it tick more boxes than the previous versions? The route was a little bit different today than my normal long run ramble. 10 miles, a total of 15.8 kilometers on some very tired legs. I had a great gig in Bristol the previous night. I think I got to bed about 2 AM and then woke up about 6:30, so not really an awful lot of sleep. Within this 10-mile effort, I did throw in 6 200-meter reps later in the run for a little bit of variety and to test my endurance at some harder effort on some energy-sapped legs. I think standing up for 2 hours 30 minutes the night before really wasn't the best preparation for this type of run, but it is what it is. About 1 hour 22 total duration out there in temps around about 10 centigrade. It did leave me feeling happy that I'd gone out at that time and not later in the day where it was absolutely baking here in the UK. It just wouldn't have happened if I'd attempted it later on, I'll tell you that now. So how did the 39 hold up? Let's get to it. Otherwise, the extra minute of time added on was for retying the shoes at a certain point. I found over a longer effort, especially with shoes that have air units in, the upper and the whole shoe tends to sort of give after a while. Within the first sort of 50 miles, you get a little bit of stabilization, I suppose, within the midsole unit. I think aside from the Alpha Fly, that's just kind of what it is from the off. The upper's been flexing a bit in this shoe and certainly loosening up over time, as do the laces. Even though I'd used a runner's knot, I had to tighten all the laces up and retie. I think it was probably about 45 minutes in, something like that. It seems though you really need a good connection with the foot and the midsole unit. It's imperative to get the best out of this shoe, that's for sure. It just feels so much more responsive when you can really feel those air units underfoot. A little pain having to retie, but it is what it is. I found the shoe breathable on the run and no heel slip despite the lacing flex. I really do like the shoe's profile this time round. It just seems to really work from an aesthetic point of view, but also a fit point of view. Toe box height, width and depth are spot on for me in the Pegasus 39. Despite the very early run and the warmer conditions, it just felt fine. A lot of people suggest the Pegasus is quite a warm shoe. I don't really see it myself. If you like the 36, I think the upper is probably as close to that as you're going to get in 2022. The midsole is proving capable now. It's had a good hammering of about 43 miles or so. Certainly a fair bit of creasing going on though, especially in the mid to forefoot. One thing I've found with the 39 is the minimised amount of react foam that we've got here in the midsole is certainly beneficial from a point of view of flexibility. The whole unit just feels that little bit more flexible now. I guess there's a lot less dense foam here within the midsole where you've got those air units incorporated in both the heel and the forefoot. I think the 37 feels a bit like a clog compared to this. The 38 was a little bit improved on that, just a lot more give to the midsole. The air units in the heel and the forefoot of the 39 do work a lot more efficiently, I find. In the heel you have a little bit more impact protection when you're going at slower speeds, but at faster bursts the forefoot air unit is engaged and it doesn't feel quite as pressurized underfoot as the one that you've got in the Kiger 8. My review for that one will be coming up very shortly. I think perhaps this version of the Pegasus has got a slightly smaller forefoot airbag. I think it's working a bit better here. There's a better balance to the shoe. Got a slightly larger heel air unit, slightly smaller one in the forefoot. Just seems to be the right combination. It's a bit like fish and chips or toast and jam. I really fancy some toast and jam now I've talked about that. Maybe some raspberry conserve on some nice wholemeal. Either way, the midsole was cushioned enough today to help guide me through that longer run. The first that I've done up into double figures in a long time. Virus took a bit of a toll. Starting to feel a little bit stronger now. You know, it's been some weeks since I felt 100%. I think I'm pretty much there now. I'm not sure though that I would have wanted to go much more than about 13 or 14 miles in the shoe today. That's probably down to my legs more than the shoe though. People have been asking me what constitutes a long run. Well, I always go by it should be about 20 to 25% of your weekly mileage. So for me, I've hit 40 miles this week, so 10 miles seems quite reasonable. As you ratchet the miles up, obviously that will increase. Just being responsible about it, I suppose. Sometimes you see people coming back from injury or from some sort of illness and they just, you know, put the hammer down, and that's just a quick way to get injured, and I'm all about longevity. Again, you could look at this shoe and say, well, other shoes have got more cushion, they've got more squash to them, they're more forgiving, but a lot of those are 50 to 100 pounds more than this one. And you can nip down your local Sports Direct and pick this up as well. It's just a really good, solid shoe that isn't too solid. Outsole last, but by no means least. I just want to try and convey this to you, that the outsole of my pair is almost concave. It's really, really weird. It's around about where that air unit is in this kind of midfoot section of the shoe. Doesn't feel like that when you're running in it, but just looking at it, it looks really strange. Great grip out there today with that new rubber pattern and positioning. Mainly road, pavement and grass today, but there was little to trouble the shoe in the traction stakes. Though there is a bit more aggressive wear in the front area of the second rubber section of the midfoot. I'm seeing little wear aside from on the outer edge or the lateral side of the heel. Certainly the rubber here seems to be wearing down a little faster than it did in previous versions. Bit of a worry really, without even reaching 50 miles, already got some outsole wear. I shall keep my eyes on it throughout my future testing. So reasonable showing for the shoe on the longer run today. Getting back into double figures and I can feel my fitness returning. I'm liking the simplicity of the Pegasus 39. Viewers, do you have any experiences you wish to convey to us about the Pegasus series? Have you found it reasonable on longer runs, or do you tend to keep it to daily usage? Let the runners know down in the comments. A musical interlude for you. I think I covered the new Neil Young bootleg series, or at least one of the albums, in yesterday's video. I checked out some of the others though, and they're equally as good. The Citizen Kane Junior Blues 1974, Live at the Bottom Line, is also a cracker, although Neil sounds a little bit more depressed, I guess, in this one. Maybe the success wasn't all it was cracked up to be. There's a whole bunch of different songs here, some of them from one of my favourite Neil Young albums, which is called On the Beach. There's a particularly good version of Ambulance Blues on here. The versions of Revolution Blues and On the Beach are fantastic too. The quality doesn't feel quite as crisp as perhaps the other album I reviewed the other day, but still it has this amazing ambience. There's quite a lot of crowd noise in this one. You can hear some of the distinct characters in the crowd commenting on what song Neil should play next. I've always loved the track Motion Pictures as well, which I believe might have been written about a lady that Neil had fallen for, an actress at the time. Some of the tracks on here are really quite personal, and I think it's one of Neil's best live albums, certainly. They're all winners, in fact, all these live albums. Perhaps even better than the studio recordings. Go and check this one out from Neil Young, 1974, From the Bottom Line. Thanks for tuning in, people. It's always appreciated. Hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up like. You can also give us a super thanks as well by clicking the button down below. It really does help support the channel. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you